Well, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Making Memz on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network and coming to you from the Channel Seed Studios. I am Adam Pedersen, and the one you're all here for is Jordan Bohannon. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, dude. Why do you got to say that though? Everyone loves you. I'm getting great compliments. Everyone says, "Wow,
Nice.
he's got such a nice voice."
Well,
Mm.
thank you.
I did think that the first time we met. I was like, "Holy crap, this guy has the best radio voice ever in the world." And look at us now.
How about that? I'm finally getting to put it to use. Yes, God has blessed me with a voice for radio and also a face for it as well.
Mm.
But
And a body.
yes,
Body.
and a body and a body that's meant for radio and maybe the occasional on-screen appearance. But let's not get carried. I'm not going on Project Runway anytime soon.
Well, you never know.
That's true. I mean, plus-size models are a thing nowadays.
Yeah, I've seen you on the treadmill though. I'm like, that got me motivated to get back my ass back on the treadmill and start running.
Yep. Because when we play a rematch, you don't want to lose, so you better stay on your game, buddy.
Yeah, can we talk about that shirt today? Oh my gosh.
Rocking the flowers. So we got the tournaments going on in the Bahamas, the Maui Invitational. So I had to rock my flowery golf polo.
I think you need to be there based off what you're wearing right now.
Yes. Oh, man. That'd be nice. It's like, I don't know. It's like 25 degrees here and like 30-mile-per-hour winds right now. I wouldn't mind being on the beaches of Maui.
Have you been to Hawaii before?
I have not. Maybe we just need a pod and do content at the Maui Invitational next year.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Hey, Williams, start saving up in the budget. Send us to Maui.
He needs to save up for Rogaine first, and then he'll do the Maui trip.
There we go. Oh, man. So how was your weekend? I was in Iowa City watching the Hawks clinch the Big Ten West. How was your weekend, pal?
It was good. You know, I had Dad's birthday on Saturday, so anyone knows me and knows how much family means to me. So we had a good time, hanging out with the family and watching Iowa, man. I know, probably quick segue into this, but this year has just been so much fun, dude. I haven't been big into football growing up. Obviously, my dad playing there, we always watched it. But like, I feel like this year has been like the first year I've felt like, man, I love football. I've never really said that, but watching Iowa football this year, Adam, it has been such a ride to see them come together and do the things they're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just the oddball out here.
Well, I think that you have you got a different perspective than most of us. You've been in the locker room on a high level, Big Ten. So probably most fans just see the game differently than someone who's actually been there. So you probably have a different perspective. You're probably, we're all happy for the guys, like they keep winning, but you're probably like seeing how they're galvanizing through all the adversity and how they're just finding ways to win. And I think you probably have a more positive perspective than most of us jabronis that run our mouths on social media sometimes.
Hey, you said it, not me. But no, it's just been a blast to see them. I don't know. You're right. I see like the little things. Like I saw the water cooler being dumped on Brian Ferentz.
That was amazing.
Like Kirk Ferentz crying in the post-game interview. Like that type of stuff. Like I don't care how passionate you are as a fan, and nothing against fans because they make college sports what they are. They're college fans are one of the greatest people ever because they're so passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
And cheer on their team, but no one is more passionate than the people that are actually in the locker room and in the program. And you can see that. I mean, you just see, the passion that Kirk Ferentz shows. I mean, almost every post-game interview this year, he's just been brought to tears just because of what's been said by a player or what a media someone said about him, or just them overcoming adversity and having the win. I mean, that's priceless, man. I mean, I know they get a lot of hate for having family on staff, but I don't know. That's priceless to see people's emotions moved by tears because I don't know. I just feel like that's a lost art now, Adam. I don't know about you. Just being so passionate about something that you love it so much that you will do anything you can to, make it be successful.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm passionate about this. I was willing to cut off a foot to make podcasting happen, and then I just happened to meet you, and the rest is history.
God has a plan.
Yes, he does. Yeah, man, that was if you regardless of what people think about Iowa football, you can't see that and not be moved and not be fired up and not just like have some sort of emotion. And then you see the players. I mean, say what you want about Brian. My gosh, do his players love him? Just double Gatorade baths surrounding him when they're getting ready to do victory formation. They're fired up for him. That embrace he had with his dad, like you said. My gosh, I'm not sure there's anybody out there besides Kirk Ferentz that could keep this all together. What they've been through, injuries, probably. I mean, I want to know what the locker rooms have looked like every week, like what he's saying to keep guys galvanized. Everyone goes to the podium and they're all saying the right things. They got each other's back. Man, you can just tell it is a family. They love each other. The outside noise, they hear it. Obviously, like you can probably attest to that. You hear it, but ultimately, it's just about the guys inside the walls. And man, they are exemplifying that to the highest level.
And that's a huge attest to the staff as well, because they recruit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's like football recruiting, but I know it's the same exact way. And when you're being recruited as basketball players for college, that you got to recruit good people to be able to have a program that even when shit hits the fan, which shit hit the fan this year for Iowa football,
mm-hmm.
that they're not going to back down. They're going to stay 10 toes down on the ground, and they're going to do everything they can to be successful. And I think that's a test to the people that they've recruited, the kids that they've recruited a lot of Iowa kids. And I think when you recruit home state kids, I know I've said this before on previous podcasts, but when you recruit home state kids, that is such a huge advantage for your program, because those kids, I can say this with assertiveness because I've been it, but when you recruit home state kids, they're doing anything they can to win for that team because they grew up watching that team. And I think that's so important to have around you, because not a lot of teams out there have that kind of ability to be getting home state kids that love their program as much as they do. And I think that's a huge test to the staff to be able to recruit those kids.
Yep. Well said. Well said. I was there in attendance, and man, senior day, it's so cool. Obviously you've had that moment, but I can't imagine what's going through those guys' heads when they're when they're getting ready to come out of the tunnel one last time. The emotions, that stadium when Tory Taylor came out of the tunnel was so loud. My gosh, that guy, I don't know if there's ever been a more loved punter in the history of football. That guy got such a pop. It was like when Stone Cold returned to the WWE. The crowd just went nuts for Tory Taylor. I mean, well-deserved. It was awesome. And then, of course, he goes out and just has a dazzling performance that could have been better if we would have had Cooper out there probably down in some of those punts that should have been taken care of. But, man, it was so fun to be there in person. Fans are still complete lunatics. I don't know if there's anywhere in the stadium you can sit where you're not surrounded by them. You see like 75-year-old guys just losing their ever-loving mind all game long, screaming at Bielema, screaming at refs. And I don't know. I just want to say, pal, they can't hear you. Can you just relax a little bit?
Even if you say that, they're gonna believe you even or not believe you even more, and then they're gonna want to be louder. That's Iowa football fans right there.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's probably a little bit of maturing and growing up, but also now like representing Iowa everywhere. Obviously, I don't know if anyone there had any idea who I was. Maybe someday, but I want to be calm and put on a good face for Iowa everywhere and myself and my family and whatever else. But it was fun to just sit there and watch the game and kind of just make comments with my friends and not be a screamer yeller and stuff, because that just honestly, it looks exhausting. To be honest with you,
I don't know how I'm exhausted playing the game, but man, I've been to sporting events. Actually, not. I don't think I've been to a lot of Iowa sporting events, but I've been to sporting events. So I'm like, man, these fans got to be tired. Like, I can only imagine. I know what it's like in the game, but they scream literally the whole entire game. I'm like, don't you just like want to talk to your friend to the left for a little bit and then like scream? But no, it's like pure screaming at the players and at the game. Like, I love it, but man, that's got to be exhausting.
Yep. Well, before we get into a little more football discussion than basketball, I have to mention our friends at Terraplex Ag sponsoring this show for us. They're a wonderful company. They specialize in new farm technology via drones. So if a lot of you out there don't know, drones are becoming a huge part of farming and agriculture, whether it's applying cover crop or fertilizer, or if you don't want to hire a high boy to go in there and do some late season applications, drones will take care of it for you. Or if you just want to get a good aerial view of your field to see maybe so Jordan, I'll break it down for you. There's like light yellow, green. There's different colors you can see from above your corn or beans, and you can see maybe where certain areas of your field are lacking in nutrition or fertilizer. And then once you see those pictures and the drones help you, then you can decide how you want to fertilize your fields moving forward for the next crop. So check out Terraplex Ag. They're a wonderful partner of us, and they can help you out with all of your farming needs via drones and applications. So check them out.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, every time I talk to you about, because I want to learn everything I can about farming. My grandma, my mom, they kind of grew up on they grew up on a farm, and my whole like side of my mom's family has been, farm. Like that's farm people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really been on that side of the family. Like, I know them really well, but I've never like actually immersed myself in that like area. And every time I talk to you, dude, I'm like, I didn't even know like that different colors. I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah. If something's like, if your beans or your corn is looking a little light green versus dark green, or there's some yellowing going on, you might be lacking in potassium, or you might be lacking in nitrogen and stuff like that. And so those area pictures, and obviously soil sampling in the fall, can help you out a lot.
Wow.
So there you go.
How's the harvesting going? Everything's all settled over there?
Oh yeah, we got done. We're just out hauling corn stalk bales now, still plugging away at that. Haven't got a lot done this week because getting ready for Thanksgiving and podcast stuff, but everything's going okay, except I'm going to share this for my Ag Minute this week. I've had a couple sad moments on the farm.
Oh.
And I want to let people know it's not always sunshine and roses and wonderful. I had, especially with livestock. So in the last couple weeks, I've had a cow and a calf die, and which is to be expected, but it stinks when it happens. Just like a week ago or 5 days ago or so, I had a cow, and if they're kind of hanging around the building and they're not out in the field and they're just slow moving and got like maybe like a white foamy mouth because they're not drinking a lot of water or stuff, you can tell something's wrong. A lot of times when we have a tub grinder, we tub grind our feed. Occasionally you might get like a chunk of metal or something in the feed. And if they can't pass it, it might get stuck in their intestines. So I had the vet come out. You put a magnet in them. It's like it's like the shape of an egg. And you put it in via their mouth with a tool. And then it kind of sits in their stomach and it's supposed to draw metal to it. Hopefully it'll help them heal and be able to get better. Doesn't happen often. And this time it didn't happen. The cow ended up dying. And then, so there's a lot of future income you lose off having a calf. And then I just had a calf randomly be great one day, got sick, gave it medicine. Next day, it's just laying in the farmyard dead. And there's not a lot you can do about it. And insurance companies will only pay you if it's like a natural disaster. So basically, the only way you're going to get paid is if they get hit by lightning or like a flood happens or something. Otherwise, they say, oh, you didn't do a good enough job raising your cattle, even though you do everything you can and it's completely out of your control. That's how it happens sometimes.
Well, that sounds a little corrupt. They don't really pay out.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
It is a bummer. So, but that's how it goes. It stinks. And I'm usually mad for a few hours. And then, I don't know, I think about podding with you and I get over it.
Well, that's really sad. That kind of makes me a little emotional.
Yeah.
They're like your little kids.
Yeah, you do, and you get attached to them. And I mean, it is a business at the end of the day, and you got to keep that mindset. But you still, I mean, there probably is farmers out there who don't care at all about their livestock and just see it as a way to make money, which it is for me too. But you also do get a little attached to them. They're fun. They're goofy animals. They're fun to be around, and so that's my sad ag minute this week.
Well, that's really sad. It wasn't the calf that was you found and that wanders around all the time, right?
No, that one's still going strong, still getting out. I've given up trying to keep it in. I just shut the door to the barn so it doesn't walk out on the farm.
Oh, he's a little sweetie.
Oh yeah, he's a little stud. He's just waiting to get his brother has a broken leg, so that's why he's penned up right now with his mom, and he's just like begging me, "Can you please just let us back out?" I said, "I got to keep you in here with your mom and your brother until brother's good to go. Be patient."
Always got to be patient.
So anyway, I'll try to mostly share happy thoughts, but it's good sometimes to let people know there is sad sides to agriculture.
Well, I just didn't like all this, dude. Every time I talk to you, like, there's just something new that I'm fascinated about. Yeah. Not that part. I don't.
Oh man. Well, while we were on football, why don't we talk about that before we talk some basketball and preview some fun upcoming games for the Hawks. So the Hawks did officially win the West in classic Hawkeye fashion. Squeaked out a late score. Just found a way, man. I tell you what, for some reason, watching on TV is more nerve-wracking to me. I was there, I was on the side where the Caleb Johnson scored that last touchdown to win the game. And for some reason, I'm just standing there thinking, like, win or lose, I'm not nervous for some reason. I'm just watching it in person. It's for some reason less nerve-wracking. But I did, like, in the back of my mind think, if we just keep running, something will open up. And then sure enough, bada bang.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was like kind of, I don't know, man. It was kind of a weird game. What game isn't weird this year that Iowa played? But I don't know. Something inside of me thought they were somehow, some way, midway through the fourth, they were just going to pull it out, just like they always have been doing in the last 2 decades with Kirk Ferentz. They just find a way to win. And I don't know, something about those senior night games too. Like, I've been a part of them. I don't know. There's something like kind of magical about senior night games that, trying to translate it from basketball to football. There's just something, magical in the air that, it's not that God's on your side. No one's on God's side in sports events, but there's just like a weird feeling that your team's going to find a way to pull it out just because those seniors deserve to go out on a win. And that's a huge deal for those seniors to say, my last game in Kinnick, I was able to pull out a win, and we were Big Ten West, champs. Yeah, that's a huge deal. I don't think that was talked about enough in the media because senior night is such a huge part of an athlete's career because that's their last memory in that jersey in their home stadium.
Yeah, man, that's I remember my high school senior nights being so sad and bummed, and the memories and nostalgia floods over you. I can't even imagine what it's like in college. And of course, you got senior Tory Taylor out there making awesome punts, and you got Joe Evans on senior day just going out in style with some batted down passes and forcing the fumble that leads to a safety. And it's especially exciting, I think, for the fan to see seniors having some big senior moments on senior day.
And I would know, Adam. I had about 7 of them. So.
Oh yeah, buddy. Well, you just couldn't get enough of that senior day feeling. You had to keep coming back.
I loved it too much.
And we loved having you back too.
You mean it?
I actually mean it. In the moment, I'd get caught up and be a freaking dick, but I mean it.
Thank you.
All right. I think I wanted to bring this up because there's very few people that can actually relate to this like you. And so I think your perspective would be great on this. So the Cooper DeJean injury, I think it would be good if you can take us through the mindset of what it's like when you're having a great season and you're with all your guys, you've worked so hard, then all of a sudden it's just taken away from you within a 5-second span. And all of a sudden you're training, you're working to get back, you're not with the guys. What is that like? What is Cooper's life like right now, probably? And I know football's different than basketball, but you can relate your story to this because you went through your injuries, and you've told me a little bit about it, but I think people would love to hear it. Like, I think it would be good for you to share this with us so people can really like humanize the athlete. So the floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, well, I think that's a huge facet of sports, and I don't know, it's a little different from college sports still compared to professional sports because professional, obviously, there's a lot of money being involved with professional sports, but college sports, there's NIL, but I mean, we're talking about pennies to the dollar what these guys are actually worth. But anyway, that's a different topic. But the whole, I don't know, man. When injuries and stuff like in adversity hits college athletes, it is very, very hard mentally. Physically, you're going to be fine. I mean, we're one of the best athletes in the world. We have one of the best doctors in the world. Like, you're going to be fine physically. That's never going to be a question. But mentally, man, that's a hill that a lot of people that I saw personally really, really struggle on, and I was one of them too. My first hip surgery, I struggled. My second one, I struggled. I broke my foot here recently, a year and a half ago. Like, just going through continuous rehab, like, physically, you're going to be fine because you've done it before. You're going to get through it. You've been hurt. But mentally, it is such a hard mountain to climb because, not wasted, but you dedicated so much of your time to this one thing. And when it's taking away from you, you're kind of left out to dry because you don't really feel a part of the team because, I mean, from my personal experience, because you're not actually playing. And when you're not actually playing, you feel like you're not giving any help to the team. But what I've loved about Coop is, I mean, you can see how active he is on wanting for the team to be successful, even in his absence as well. And Cade's the same way. A lot of those guys that have been hurt, you can see how happy they are for their teammates to be successful. And that's a test to what we talked about earlier, was the recruiting aspect to Iowa football, how great they've always done to get kids like that. But, man, on the mental side of things, it is really hard to get over that because you just don't feel like you're providing anything. And when you don't feel like you're providing anything, you not feel worthless in a sense, but kind of feel worthless in a sense because there's nothing there for you to give.
Man, that would and especially like when you're 20, 21 years old, maybe it even happens to star players at 19 or something. I process things so much better now. I know how to handle things so much better now at 36 than when I was 20, obviously. So then you're like thrown to the fire of really having to grow up and mature and learn how to deal with something like that. And I know people will say, well, athletes have this and the best treatment, but still, like, they're still just humans and like had something major happen to them. And it's hard to deal with stuff like that when you're young and already have the pressure of school and class and practice and the games and wanting to not let people down and stuff. So does Iowa have does basketball and football, do they have like a shared, is there like a therapist, psychology department that helps with athletes and stuff like that? Or how's that work?
Oh yeah, they do a great job with that. And that's needed because I know a lot of my people I've been close to have needed to do that, and they did. And I especially when I was going through my injuries, I had to talk to someone. And I was fortunate enough, Jack Nungy was hurt, but by my side. Obviously, unfortunate for him, unfortunate for me, but us together, we were able to, talk it out. And our trainer, Brad Floyd, was so great with us as well, too. And I know the football department has the same exact resources as we do, too. But
good deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think once you see up close, a lot of fans don't see things up close from a long sprout out time. They only see it from a short time maybe, or they don't see it at all. When you're able to see it behind the scenes daily, you'd be like, your eyes are open to seeing how humanized we really are. Because I mean, we really are objects when you think about it. Like, we're put on the field, we perform, people cheer for us, we go off the field, people cheer for us, or they boo. I think that's, and it doesn't feel too humanizing when you're part of that on a night-to-night basis. So I think the more people are able to see and behind the scenes, like what Coop is going through, what Kid is going through, it's an eye opener. It really is. And I don't think a lot of people understand that until they do see it up front.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's important for people to step back from the cheering wins and losses to hear stuff like that occasionally. And did you see they got Coop on video on his crutches hopping off into the tunnel, and they're videotaping right when he goes by the camera, he drops an F yeah.
Yeah.
So you can tell he's still fired up for his boys. He's not feeling sorry for himself. He's just happy for the team, and you love to see that. I don't know what it is. I just have this sneaking suspicion in my gut that he's going to come back. I don't know. I want him to go out on his terms. So maybe it's me just trying to wish it to happen, but I just have this feeling.
It's an interesting position because of how big of a professional player he's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting because he's an Iowa kid, and he just had his career essentially cut short because of an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, like what you're saying, if he did decide to come back because of how he was. I mean, the kid wanted to play at Iowa his whole entire life, and now he has this chance to play at Iowa, and he's excelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the man in Iowa City, and I know he's going to do really good things with his, being so successful. So I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't want to predict anything, but I just say I wouldn't be shocked if he decided to come back because of what his past has been as an athlete leading up to now. Because, man, he is a show to see.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's from so Odebo, Iowa is like 25 miles from my hometown in Elta, where I'm sitting right now. Maybe I'll have to sneak over there at Christmas, see if he's home, and just try to get an inside scoop. And he'll probably say, "Can you please leave me alone? I'm trying to have Christmas with my family." But man, he's I've had some of his high school teammates I've had over the years in the youth group at the church I help with, and they have told me, like, diehard, lives, breathes, eats, sleeps Hawks, him and his family. So there's a small sliver of hope that maybe he'll come back, but ultimately he's got to do what's best for him, and it's next man in if he leaves.
I mean, for the athletes they've lost this year, for them to be putting up a record like they did, I mean, that is just extraordinary. Losing a guy like Coop and winning on senior night, Cade's been out for a little bit. You just go down the line of injuries they've had. They're not just like guys. Not putting a platform on any of these guys compared to someone else, but these guys are studs, like to impact teams heavily, and they've still put out a winning football team. So I don't know. I'm just really happy for all of them. I really am.
Yeah. I want to give props and shout out Deacon Hill. Before, I saw some stats of him before the bye week when he got thrown to the fire 2 games versus the 3 games he's had since the bye week. It is a complete 180. I'm not saying he's out there like John Elway, but his stats aren't too shabby post the bye week, and some of those throws that I got to witness in person on Saturday were, I don't know how he completed them, tight windows, maybe a little luck, maybe skill, maybe him being confident with a massive arm he has, but it's not like complete dread now when Iowa has to go down and get yards thinking it's not possible. Like, he's definitely improved. I think he's over 60% completion now. He's got, I think I want to say it was 3 touchdowns, which, okay, whatever. Nothing special, but only 1 pick versus reverse numbers pre-buy. And so Deacon's improving. It's good to see. KF was saying all along, he's barely played. We got to get him reps. And I guess the old ball coach knows a little bit more than a lot of us does.
Yeah, I mean, you hate all you want on Kirk. I mean, he knows what the hell he's doing. You got to put a guy out there that he believes would be the most successful, which he's done, whether people liked it or not through the years. And you got to get him adjusted and accustomed to the atmosphere. You can't expect a guy that was essentially a third string coming into Iowa, I mean, yeah, you always want to be ready to play, but he wasn't expecting to play this year.
Yeah.
There's no chance. And what he's been able to do to lead a team to well, they 9-2 record now.
Yep.
Big Ten West champs. I mean, you can say all you want about the stats, but they're winning. It's winning football. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for guys like that too as well, because the guys that didn't think they're going to have a chance and they got a chance and they're making the most of it. That's special right there to see.
Yep. Oh man. Well, we move on to, we got Nebraska on Black Friday. I love Black Friday so much. I wake up feeling miserable from the amount of food I ate on Thanksgiving. I get my chores done, and then I go to Baumgart's. Do you know, is there Baumgart's over on your side of the state?
There is not, but I've had my fair share at Baumgart's.
All right. So for those,
Iowa.
I love it. For those of you who don't know, Baumgart's is a hardware store. It's big in Northwest Iowa. They got great deals on stuff that only farmers could love. Drills, tools, all sorts of awesome deals. So I do chores. I get over there, I buy a tool or something. I've been waiting for a good deal on Black Friday. And then I go watch Iowa, Nebraska. That's a fun tradition. Hopefully the Hawks can win. It'd be kind of funny. My Nebraska friends that listen to this, I'm sorry, but it'd be kind of funny if the Hawks kept Nebraska from going to a bowl game.
Oh, wait, I didn't even notice.
Oh, yeah. Bowl game on the line. Nebraska's got to win.
Oh, why does this always have to, like, circumstances have to come down to Iowa, Nebraska game? That is so funny. I mean, they have to lose. They have to.
Iowa, I know we got to clinch, but man, it'd be fun to beat Nebraska, keep them out of a bowl game, make that record look 10-2 instead of 9-3. It'd be a lot more fun. So even though we've clinched the West, a lot on the line Friday, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, you think about it here. I know you're talking Nebraska, but Iowa pulls off a win at Nebraska. They go in 10-2. They go in the Big Ten title game. You never know what's going to happen. 11-2. I mean,
a lot can happen.
A lot can happen for them to jump way up. A lot does have to happen, but they're putting themselves in position.
Yes, sir. One more football thing I wanted to touch on that, this is perspective that few can give, you being one of them. Phil Parker's embrace with Kirk Ferentz post game. Did you see the video of Phil giving him the game ball and stuff? I think a lot of fans over the years have probably thought Phil's probably pissed at Kirk. The defense is outperforming the offense. But you see that video and touch on like coaches' relationships if you could. Obviously, you're not inside the football locker room, but you're there seeing your assistant coaches that you had with Fran and stuff. Like, they just seem to so love each other, support each other. And I think a lot of people on the outside are probably always thinking like the coaches are pissed if their side of the ball is doing better than the other. So I don't know if you can touch on that, like coaches' relationships, if they're all in together for the common goal, if there's ever a rift.
Well, I'm sure there's always going to be some sort of altercations that occur in staffs. I mean, you think about families, there's always altercations that occur just because, there's going to be differences and there's going to be people that have different values and morals. But at the end of the day, they all have the same goals, right? They all have the same end in sight. So from that aspect, they're always going to be very, very excited for each other. And if they're not, I guarantee Kirk's the first one to say, get the hell out of here or figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's a cool side to see, because on the basketball side, we had our shooting coaches. We had our guys that were more on the defensive side. We had our guys running these drills to get us ready. We have our coaches doing this other stuff. Football's a little more excessive from that aspect because they do have different departments. But when you're able to come together and accomplish the same goal, that lifts everyone up in the locker room. I don't care if you didn't play, if you did play, if you played 40 minutes, if this coach was the scout of the team, if this coach was just defensive end. There's always, when the end goal is finally met, that creates a bond that is very, very hard to explain. And you have to see it and go through it to explain it, because it's one of the most rewarding feelings ever, just to see that happen. Like, you see Phil and Kirk do that on the outside, but to see them happening through the process to get there,
mm-hmm.
that's powerful. And I mean, you see it with, I mean, any profession. I mean, you see it in farming when you're able to hit your, end goal of what you wanted to do. I mean, that's powerful because you've seen the work that was put in to get
Sure.
there. And not a lot of people are able to see that, but you do, and that's powerful.
Right on, right on. Well, let's hope the Hawks can go out, get a dub on Black Friday, and let's hope also Iowa basketball, now transitioning to them, can get themselves a big win on Thanksgiving Day. Man, Thanksgiving Day and then Black Friday. It's going to be a glorious couple days, sports and food and family. Iowa did beat, not too long ago, beat Arkansas State. And I don't know if the game was closer than people thought. Arkansas State had been putting up some serious numbers on teams. Hawks, though, win by 14. I think it was the first Iowa game that hit the under in basketball this year. And so Iowa, I mean, I don't know. They didn't shoot well from three. They were 2 for 12 from three. Aside from that, not too bad. One concern I did have, though, and it's been a concern I've had for a while with some of the Hawks teams, was rebounding. Arkansas State did hold a significant rebounding edge, especially Iowa gave up 15 boards against Arkansas State. I do not like to see that, and it is a little concerning moving forward, but hopefully they can clean it up. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that game or not.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of said that the same thing last year. Rebounding and turnovers is going to be huge. I don't know how many turnovers did Iowa have total that game. I don't think.
Not very many. Iowa, by the way, not very many turnovers. I think they had 7 that game, and they are tied for first in the country in least turnovers per game right now at 6.8. So that's very promising.
Yep, and that's a huge component of this team being successful. If they can keep that under 8 turnovers a game, that's going to be really hard to do in Big Ten play. But with the talent they have, they're going to have to make the most of every possession they have. And when you're given a turnover, Roy, obviously you're giving up potential points you could have scored, and you're giving up points they could have scored. In this aspect, when I was thinking about or talking about turnovers to people don't understand this aspect of turnovers, right? So you have the ball, the turnover occurs, that's a loss of 3 points, essentially. You can, if you want to say there's a 3-point play, but let's say it's just someone could hit a 3-pointer. Arkansas comes back, Arkansas State, let's say that's who they're playing, they come back, get a turnover, they hit a 3. That's a 6-point swing, essentially, right there. And people don't understand, people don't understand that kind of mindset of how big turnovers really are because of that swing. They just say, oh, it's just a loss of points. But no, they could hit a 3. They come back. Let's say they hit a 3. That's a 6-point swing. That's a huge swing in basketball games. It really is, especially in college basketball. Maybe not in the NBA because NBA is so damn crazy. But if you're able to limit your turnovers, and they're going to have to rebound the hell out of the ball this year. I think those two things, I mean, you can probably throw in, they're probably going to have to hit Big Ten play comes around, they're probably going to have to average around 7 to 8 threes a game. That's going to be tough this year. But you're going to have to hit threes to win games. That's just what the game has shifted to and transitioned to. But I think those 3 things, Adam. I mean, defense will be defense. It's just I think they're giving up around 75 a game this year. Defense will be defense, but if they're able to take care of those 3 things, because turnovers can lead to a poor defensive team. Fran always would say that in the locker room. So those 3 key areas, Adam, if they're able to keep those manageable, they have a shot to get into the NCAA tournament. And that's anything in the NCAA tournament this year. I think that's a huge success for Iowa basketball.
Oh, without question. Yeah. I think about that often, and sometimes it leads to some arguments I have with friends. They're like, oh, but you lost by 15. Like, it's not going to change anything if they took care of the ball better. I'm like, do you guys not realize, like, they could have had 8 less points. We could have had 8 more, and we win by a couple with this bad pass here or there. It didn't happen. So I love how you touched on that. So speaking of rebounds, as we look to the Oklahoma game, Oklahoma is not significantly, but definitely better than Iowa. They average about 1.5 more boards a game, about 3 more overall rebounds a game. And so Oklahoma, and they have some big boys. I'll touch on that in a minute, but it's a little concerning. But if Iowa can keep the rebounding around I don't know, half and half with Oklahoma. Other offensive stats like to look at, like we're better 3-point percentage. Our pace is way above Oklahoma's pace. And we have a lot of depth, so maybe we can really get them running. They do shoot significantly better free throw amount and percentage. And so, that was one thing I noticed about Arkansas. Holy cow, the Hawks went to the line like 40 times, I think. And so that was exciting to see because, man, if you can be more aggressive and draw fouls, that can change the game big time, especially if you're getting other teams' bigs or, key players in foul trouble. But a lot to like about the Oklahoma matchup. We average way more assists, steals, and obviously we're better with turnovers. So I think it's going to be a dogfight, but we'll see what happens with that. Anything you got after me spitting all that at you?
No, I love all those stats. I think those stats are really important. I know it's early in the season, but those are telling of where your identity as a team is going to shift towards the middle of the season, towards the end of the season as well too. But Oklahoma, obviously, you have Coach Moser, one of the best coaches in college basketball. He was at Loyola, and he did what he did there. Just phenomenal coach. Really disciplined teams. They're really aggressive. Really disciplined on the offensive and defensive side. Great rebounding teams historically with him. I think they're only giving up around 55 a game right now. I think I saw with Oklahoma. So you're going to come into a dogfight. They're going to play like, the difference between when Porter was at his other school is they had athletes, but he wasn't able to recruit the athletes he does now at Oklahoma. So the more he's, getting his classes to come in and develop them and train them and get them ready for, these seasons, you're going to see this Oklahoma to be really a great program because of how good of a coach he is. So this is a really big game for Iowa. I know Oklahoma isn't as highly rated as Creighton, but Oklahoma's a really good team. They have really good players, and if they don't take care of those three things like I talked about, Oklahoma's going to run them out of the gym because those three things are going to be really the same principles that Porter's going to have as well too. So, I do like the free throw stat you brought up because Coach always said if you don't make more free throws as a team, if you don't make more free throws than the other team takes, then you're not winning basketball games. And that's, you look at those little details, but that's what you talk about in the locker room, as crazy that is. We would have it's like a checkbox of all these categories, and we had to check off at least, I think there's 15, and we had to check off at least, I think our number was 11. If we didn't check off at least 11 of those boxes in a game, we're not going to win. But that's the type of thing you have to do in college basketball because everyone runs such different, schemes and defensive schemes. So you have to check off a lot of boxes and break it down so minusculely to be able to be successful at this level. So I'm glad you brought those stats up because those do mean a huge deal when you're going into these types of big games.
Yeah, and especially, man, Iowa has a lot of shooters, and so if we can limit the turnovers, a lot of good things. There can be a lot of games that we can win by limiting the turnovers. Oklahoma's leading scorer is, I want to get his name right, Otega Owe.
Ortega.
You know him?
Tortega Tacos.
Oh yeah.
We have a funny story real quick.
All right, take it away.
We would always have scouts, so we'd have 2-day preps, we call them. So let's say there's Thanksgiving game day or Thanksgiving game, and we would always do a 2-day prep. So today is 2 days before Thanksgiving, so today would be the first day they're prepping for Oklahoma. And let's just say there's all these names that you are trying to learn. You have to learn all these people's names. You have to learn their numbers. You have to learn what they do, what position they are, how tall they are, just everything about them. And then we get quizzed on it the night before, or the day of the game, right before we go to the arena. So we get a quiz on all the information we did. And I'll have to pull it up next time. I have a bunch of scouting reports. I've kept every single one through the years. And they're all like 20 pages long. You have to know all the plays. You have to know what their calls are. And he's going to ask you this. And if you don't know him, he's going to be really pissed, knowing Fran. But anyway, long story short, we used to, all these different names were coming up on the board in our scouting report. And some of them, as you were talking about, you just have no idea how to pronounce any of these guys' names. So I remember we had a guy named Shamanga. I actually played with him at Iowa with Iowa Wolves last year, Jordy Shamanga, and no one could get his name right. So like we just started a thing where we just named these guys like just random names. So like we named him like Chimichanga. Like we would name like just all these people different. It's not even close to their names because no one could say who they are. So long story short, that just reminded me of all the craziness that occurred in that area.
After the game, you go up to him, dap him up. Hey, nice game, Chimichanga.
No, that's literally what we would do.
Guys like, what?
We'd be in the game. You're like, Chimichanga's coming in. Who's got him?
Oh, I love it. Hey, man, whatever helps you remember. You know, nicknames like that probably help you remember it better than just trying to pronounce his name correctly.
Oh, yeah. It was just so funny because everyone is just dying laughing because it's just, I don't know. It's not that funny, but when you're in the locker room, it's just the funniest thing ever.
So Ortega, we'll call him that. Owe, leading scorer. He is a big guard, 6'5", 215, large physical guard. Their top two scorers actually are guards. The number two scorer is a little leaner. I think he's 6'2", 160. I saw. So it's kind of like our version of Perk and Bowen there. Their third leading scorer doesn't actually start, but he comes off the bench. He's 6'10", 275, a large man. Their starting big is 6'10", 235. And then they got a 6'7", around 220-pound wing. So they're kind of similar in size to the Hawks. I was thinking most games Iowa, I feel like, is going to have a size advantage, but maybe our guys off the bench is what separates us with the size advantage as we bring in all of our 6'6" to 6'8" athletes off the bench. But size-wise, you know, pretty similar to the Hawks with the starting lineup. And then they have three guys all averaging over 6 rebounds a game. But so we touched on that, like rebounding is going to be so crucial. I feel like with their guards being their leading scorers and being big and physical, I don't know how much that's going to take Bowen and Perk out of the game and going to be key that, you know, some of our role players step up. How does that have an effect when your front court guys are really having to lock in? Does that affect their game offensively?
Yeah, I mean, when you have guys like Mosier does at Oklahoma, they're probably going to pressure the crap out of the guards at the backcourt, and they're probably going to, you know, be really up on. We went over this last week. Crocky. I'm going to continue to call him Crocky.
I like it. It'll catch on.
Yeah, but he's averaged, you know, 25 the last 2 games, I think. So they're going to be all over him this game.
Yep.
And all those aspects, yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Everything we already talked about, these are going to be huge aspects of, you know, being able to win this game. The other thing is too, like, to know going into this game, this is a huge game Big Ten wise, because the more games the Big Ten can win outside of non-conference, the more beneficial conference play is going to mean to all these in-conference games. But also, you know, I know I'm kind of going off topic here, but also the game itself for Iowa, because you don't have a lot of non-conference games that are going to be quad one, and this is going to be a quad one win if they are able to pull it off, because it's a neutral site game. Oklahoma is going to be a really good team this year. So this is a huge game early in the season that I know I've talked about in previous years of how important early games are, but I know it's early in the season, all the focus on football right now, but these games right here decide the trajectory forward team, just like Creighton was. Creighton, if they would have got that win, that would be monumental for the Iowa season, because that shifts a huge, you know, kind of a, I don't know the exact word, but like that shifts them better to be in a better position at the end of the season, because they have a quad one win away. So when you're able to stack these quad one wins, I mean, I'm going to keep talking about throughout the season, that's what gets you in the tournament. That's what gets you better seeding. That's what gets you, you know, the conference itself to be able to have these games mean more. And I don't know. I think the Big Ten is doing pretty well so far. I know Purdue just beat Gonzaga last night, which was huge for the conference. But
yeah,
Gonzaga plays in a Barbie conference. They don't play against anyone. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to watch it just because of all these. This is early in the season, so we can list all the stats we want. And a lot of them are going to be a little comparison to what's going to happen. But That's what's so beautiful about these games, Adam. No one has any idea what's going to happen.
Yep. None. Oh my gosh. There's been so many. I mean, we'll see at the end of the year if they're upsets, but early college basketball season, there's been so many by the line upsets with underdogs and stuff. But I mean, it's so impossible to tell early in the year, like you said. And the nice thing I like about this game is Iowa did have that true battle tested road game at Creighton. This will be Oklahoma's first, big test really of the season. So hopefully that'll maybe play a little bit in the Hawks' favor with Crocky playing so good. I'm hoping that if they want to, especially if he's going to step out and hit that mid-range jumper around the free throw line or something, it's my hope that that'll open it up maybe down low for Pat to have a big game, potentially hitting the boards, maybe getting some O boards or some open looks down low as Crocky pulls the defense out there a little bit. And so I don't know, our guards, maybe this could be a game where some of our athletic wings have a big night while the guards got their handful with Oklahoma's guards. I'm very, very excited for this game.
I'm just scared about, not scared, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of these mid-range shots because we talked about it last.
Touched on that.
I just don't think it's winning basketball now. It's just basketball has gone away from mid-range jumpers, and the more you take, the more I think you have a chance to lose. And he's making them right now. Don't get me wrong. He's playing phenomenal. He deserves all the recognition he's gotten.
Yeah.
But there's going to be games where they're not going to fall. And I'd rather maybe step out a couple feet and shoot a three. I don't know. That's just my mathematical mind here. So I don't know.
Well, it's better to go 2 for 10 from 3 than 2 for 10 from 16 feet.
Yeah, I mean, but he's shooting. I don't know what his percentage is from the field. I mean, he's got to be shooting 45 to 55% from mid range right now. But I don't know. We were just always. Luka was different just because Luka was Luka. He could do whatever the hell he wanted. But maybe he'll turn into a Luka type player. But I don't know. It's hard to win games when you're shooting that many mid range shots, and I just hate for that to come down to that. After how well he's been playing, because he's going to have so much opening now, I think, against Oklahoma, where he's going to be able to pump fake now. And then he's got to use his size to get to the rim. And because he's a big guy, he's going to have to be able to get to the rim and attack the bigs down low, because the more he does that, Adam, the more there's going to be foul trouble with the big guys on Oklahoma, as well as the teams down the road too. So against the foul line is going to be a key factor as well too this upcoming year.
Yeah. One exciting note to look to close this discussion out here, as we hopefully next time we talk about this game, it'll be talk about a Hawkeye dub. Owen Freeman, back-to-back freshman of the week in the Big Ten. Here's a little question for you. Owen Freeman, big defensive game because he's going to be playing on Thanksgiving, and you know what his favorite Thanksgiving food is? Stuffing, because that man is a block machine. He's gonna have a big game. That was good, right?
Wow. I did not see that coming.
I like to work in those dad jokes.
Wow. That was top dad joke right there.
Thank you. I worked on that for a total of 28 seconds.
Wow.
So
did you write that down?
Of course I did.
Yeah, let's burn that.
Burn
that note.
All right. Last time I'll use that one. Maybe. So hopefully Owen, hopefully his defensive presence can help with their bigs down low. Love to see the start that young man has had to the season, especially helping, maybe as newcomers come in, you probably know it takes a little adjusting with the offense and figuring that all out. But if you can come in and help right away on defense, that's probably huge for a team.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, anytime you have the guys that come off the bench and they're able to provide as they are, that's a huge, huge premium that's put on their head for being able to perform on a nightly basis. So you have guys coming in off the bench like Owen. Brock has done really well. I know he didn't play as much, but DeSante had a great game last game. So the more you have guys coming off the bench. I mean, you look, Oklahoma's one of the top 3 leading scorers is off the bench. I mean, you look down the line on teams that are big time teams. That's pretty realistic to have guys that are top scorers on the team that come off the bench, and 6-man, 7-man, 8-mans. You know, Fran has notorious have put in the lineups of 10 to 11-man rotation. So they're gonna have to figure out their bench, you know, contributions this year also. I mean, there's a lot of different details this year for this team to be they can be really, really good. And if they take care of all those areas we talked about, I seriously think they have a chance to do really, really well this year.
Same. Well, let's hope so. And then all season long, we can talk about how exciting this team is. So, all right, some closing thoughts here to end this. First of all, shout out my alma mater. I don't like them as much as the Hawks. Sorry, Matt Bohannon, if you listen. But I did go to UNI, and I do love them. And they play UNC tomorrow night. So, hey, good luck to the Panthers. Let's go out and shock the world. You beat them once. Let's do it again. Now, granted, this one's not in the McLeod Center, but your brother was a part of that game. Why not go out and beat the Tar Heels again and shock the world? So good luck to the Panthers tomorrow night as they host North Carolina.
I'll tell you what, I had one of the most fun times watching basketball when I was going to watch my brother Matt at UNI. Just because, and I don't want UNI fans, if we have any UNI fans that are listening to take this the wrong way, just because of not the fact that they're not a high major school. And what those teams that my brother were a part of were able to do, man, that was – I wish I could go back to my brother's junior and senior year, because that was just unbelievable to watch them play. I mean, their last year, they weren't expected to make the NCAA tournament. They made the NCAA tournament. The year before, I think they went 31-4 or something crazy.
Yep.
Like, when they went 31-4, Adam, I thought, like – I was back in the day playing on my Xbox on NCAA March Madness and creating my own dynasty. That's what it felt like. It was just unreal.
Oh, man. UNI has had they've had about every 5 or 6 years or so, they get a team that really excites us. So hopefully get to experience some of that again soon. Speaking of, almost forgot to mention this, assistant coach for Oklahoma. Don't know if your brother's friends with him or not still. Former teammate, Mr. Paul Jesperson.
Yep. I forgot to say that. Great player, phenomenal player, as everyone remembers. Unbelievable player. I mean, he's the reason they got in the round of 32 their last year. That was insane to watch.
That was a nearly pass out, blood rush to the face moment.
Yeah.
Not quite as good as your shot against Indiana.
It was close though. Kiss off the glass.
Oh, that was awesome. All right. Speaking of North Carolina, you shared something with me the other day. And I know we're running short on time, but there's just so much to talk about. This North Carolina field hockey coach, share with the people what you told with me, because this is crazy.
Yes, this lady, I think she won 4 national titles? Yep. I think the article stated. I don't follow field hockey. I know a lot of people don't either. Don't take that the wrong way, but this is a fascinating story. This lady led North Carolina to a field hockey national title not too long ago here in the last couple of weeks. And she is a year out of college. She just graduated college, and she played field hockey at UNC. I think she had 4 titles herself at UNC. The first year after she gets hired as a head coach, and they win the national title.
Wild.
How insane is that? There has to be a documentary about this.
And weird coaching your former teammates.
Right. That's what she's still a girl. She's just right out of college. She's just graduated.
Yep.
It's absurd to me. I read that. I literally set my phone like on the ground like this. I'm like, I thought I was reading that wrong. She was 23 years old teaching or coaching a college team.
Can you imagine graduating? Then you turn around and you're the coach of the Hawks, and a game ends and you go to midcourt and shake hands with Tom Izzo. Hey, good game, coach. And you're the coach of the Hawks.
Tom Izzo will be like, what the fuck? What is happening right now?
Oh, man. All right. I told you that I had something I wanted to share with you that I'm not sure how you're going to react. And this is how I want to end this. And this is a way that I think we can build the following at Iowa Everywhere and me personally on social media. So we're coming up on the Christmas season. What would you say if I told you that I'm a singer? I did band, choir, all that. I love to sing, play the drums, also love sports, played all the sports. But in college, I was in an all-male men's glee club.
I don't know
Would
where
you
this is
believe
going.
it? Because it was true.
Would I believe it? Yeah. Do I know where you're going with this? No, I have no idea.
All right. So I was in the UNI varsity men's glee club in college. Had a great time. Love singing. It completely throws people off that didn't know that whenever I tell them. So I was in the glee club. And here's my proposal to Iowa Everywhere Nation and people listening. So at the end of every Christmas show that we did, there was this thing called the Arthur Murder Dancers, where I think it was 20 guys would come out in tutus and wife beaters and blown up balloons for our breasts underneath our white beaters. And we would dance to the Nutcracker theme song. And two big guys would come in, jump on the arms of people on the ends and get carried in and be the prima donnas dancing in the front. I was one of them for multiple years. So this is my proposal. I have the video and I will post it for everyone to see me dancing in a tutu like a complete fool to the Nutcracker theme song if I can get 2,000 followers on Twitter and 1,000 on Instagram by Christmas, and Iowa Everywhere gets to 10,000 on Twitter and 2,000 on Instagram by Christmas. If that happens, I will share that gift with everyone as a Christmas present from me to watch. And let me tell you, it's highly entertaining. What do you think? It's wild.
Wow.
This is who you're in business with, buddy.
Wow. I had no idea. But why does that not surprise me?
Yeah. Kind of exciting.
I mean, I just want to see the damn video now.
I'll share it with you. But I think if everyone else wants to see it, let's get the follower count up, and then I will share it. And I promise people, you will enjoy it. You'll want to share it with your family at Christmas and all your friends. It is highly entertaining and also highly exhausting. I was out of breath at the end of that dance. It is tiring. So there you go. That's my proposal.
I don't even know what to say right now.
Well, just ponder your words. You can let me know next time. So that's what I got. All right. Well, you probably didn't see that one coming, did you?
I had no idea. No idea.
All right. Before we end, we got to mention our friends at the Iowa Event Center. They are an awesome sponsor and partner with Iowa Everywhere. Tons of great shows and concerts going on. Adam Sandler just performed there and was hooping with the Drake basketball team before his concert. But they have a bunch of awesome stuff coming up. They've got WWE Monday Night Raw, which I love, by the way. Behind me, you can't see it, but I got a little Sting figurine because I love wrestling. Sting was the man. And they got Disturbed, Cat Williams. I believe Tom Segura's coming up also. Cody Johnson, Fall Out Boy. They've got, is it Disney on Ice? Is that what it's called? Coming up. All sorts of stuff going on at the Iowa Event Center. Check them out for fun things to do with your family and friends. And I'd love to do some stuff with them in the future. Hopefully we can do some fun collabs and things in the future with them. But they're an awesome partner of Iowa Everywhere, and we do appreciate working with them. So check out the Iowa Event Center for some fun stuff to do.
I heard you're going to be on Disney on Ice next year.
Well,
what you just were saying.
I do look good in a tutu. So sign me up. I'm gonna show the people at the Iowa Event Center the video of me dancing in a tutu, and they're gonna be like, done. We're gonna get you skating lessons. I mean, I was a world-class rollerblader. Surely I can ice skate.
What else did you do? What did you do?
There's few things that this man can't do. Oh, and by the way, coming up Thanksgiving morning, if you want to see what 340 pounds with ballerina feet looks like, come to the Elta football field for Turkey Bowl 29. It's a touch football game that a bunch of guys from my church and people in the community, we always play on Thanksgiving morning at the Elta football field. It's a great time. So I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving and kicking it off with that fun tradition.
Kicking it off. I love it.
Yes, sir. What do you have planned for Thanksgiving?
spending time with family, loving it.
What's it like in the Bohannon household? Is it you guys get like a basketball game going? Is it some PlayStation, some competitive stuff going on with all the brothers?
It's pure chaos right now with the 3 kids. So I have 2 nephews and 1 niece, and the niece is the most spoiled. She deserves it because she's the first girl in the Bohannon family. So she has been completely spoiled, and she is the sweetest, most cutest, and most anything you can imagine to be. Just
I love that.
She's so beautiful, and she is literally changed our family's tree because she's the first Bohannon girl.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. My mom is loving it. So she's great.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, buddy. I hope everyone out there does. Let's hope the Hawks get a dub in basketball and football, and we have all sorts of fun stuff to talk about next time. That was Making Memz from the Channel Seed Studios. Until next time, Jordan, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Always looking forward to next week.
All right. See you guys.